I visited San Juan del Sur this year in April, and I have a lot to say about it. Sam and I originally filmed this video back in April when we were on the beach, but there was so much wind that you could barely hear the thing we were saying, so I'm here to share all the details with you today.
You're in car or motorbike scooter. Welcome to San Juan del Sur.
San Juan del Sur is known as a party spot on the Pacific coast of Nicaragua. I'm going to lay out the pros and cons of going to San Juan del Sur so you know exactly what it's like before you make a decision. And I'm also going to show you how to get from San Juan del Sur to Leon in case you're looking to get from one place to another by public transportation. One of the pros is that it's a beach town, so obviously this appeals to backpackers. The sunset from the beach in town is absolutely incredible and definitely worth seeing and was the highlight of my day. Another pro is that the location is quite small, so it's really easy to get around San Juan del Sur if you want to stay in the main town, and you can pretty much get anything that you need from that town. And lastly, there is food. So Ding Repair Cafe was one of my favorite cafes. There's also a donut shop that was closed when we were there, but is said to be amazing, and so many just different restaurants and cafes that you need to try when you're there. Ding Repair Cafe was my favorite just because of all the decorations, and it was a great place to work from, as well as they had a skate park, and they actually opened it up in the evenings once a week for a social event, and I thought that was pretty cool. So for cons, the beach is really not what we were expecting. There's so much pollution in the water, along the shoreline, just everywhere, and it's honestly pretty disgusting. The hostels in San Juan seriously do not live up to the other hostels I've been to in Central and South America, and they don't have air conditioning, they don't have the best Wi-Fi, the power cuts a lot, which I'll get into in a second, and our Airbnb as well just was not it. It was really not great for the price. So as I said, power outages happen a lot in San Juan del Sur, so if you're planning on working there, it might not be the best place to do so. Some places will have generators that can kick in every once in a while, but you really never know. So if you have an important work call or an exam or something that you're doing remotely, it's not the best place to do it from. When it comes to weather, the temperatures were between 33 and probably 37 degrees every single day in April when we were there, and so humid. Like seriously so humid. I'm the type of person who loves the heat, and it was too hot for me. Of course you can go swimming and that definitely helps, but there's not really any shady spots on the beach, so if you are going, try to pick up an umbrella or something to have a shaded spot. Going back to the party town, you really need to enjoy partying to properly love your time in San Juan. So if you're not someone who likes to drink every day, then San Juan might not be it for you. Also, something to note is that this entire town is basically built for Canadian tourists, which I've never seen before, but there were Canadian flags pretty much everywhere on all shops, cafes, restaurants, some that were specifically Canadian owned and built for Canadians. They were serving Caesars, a bunch of Canadian dishes like poutine and stuff like that, which I found so weird. So yeah, it was a bit of a cheesy town in that sense, and that was also something I didn't love. And when it comes to transportation, you can get around by local buses to go to other beaches. However, it's not really worth it because it takes a while and it's not very reliable. There's no proper set schedule. You can get shuttle buses to and from different beaches, but from memory, they cost around $20 US per person for about a half-hour drive on a shuttle with multiple people. So if you have that in your budget, go for it. But if you are traveling on a budget, it's probably not the most budget friendly, because if you're going to beaches every day, then that can really add up.
So we're waking up at 5:30 AM to get a bus to Rivas, the first of 4 little transits.
3 or 4 today.
3 or 4 little transits. And we're getting up at 5:30 to avoid the crowds and
The heat.
the heat. Yeah.
getting from San Juan to Leon is definitely a mission, but it's doable. It took us around 6 hours from door to door, so it was a long travel day and something to keep in mind if you're planning to do it by local transportation. So you can probably tell where I'm heading here, but the cons definitely outweighed the pros for me. And if you're planning a trip to San Juan del Sur, I would recommend staying no longer than 2 to 3 days because we spent an entire week there and it was way too long. Of course, this was just my experience and you might have a completely different experience, so don't just take my word for it, but it is something to consider if you are planning a trip there. It also really depends what you're going for. So if you do want a party town that's by the beach, then you're gonna love it. And if you want something that's more chill by pristine nature, it might not be your best option. And it's also not gonna give you what you can get out of a nice city. And the cities of Leon and Granada were also quite interesting to visit. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Check out my other video about sandboarding in Leon here, and I will see you next week for another one. Bye.